Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible stories in the entire natural world, the epic, almost mythical life cycle of the Atlantic salmon. So let's start with the big question, right? How on earth does a fish travel thousands of kilometers through the open ocean and somehow find its way back to the exact little stream where it was born? I mean, that's the central mystery here. And the answer is this amazing story of transformation, of danger, and of an unbreakable pull to come home. You see, the salmon story doesn't just begin in one world, but two. Its whole life is split between the freshwater streams where it's born and the vast, salty open ocean. And this unique two-part strategy, well, it's the key to everything that follows. Now, there's a technical term for this lifestyle. It's called anadromous. Basically, think of it like having two different homes. They start out small in the relative safety of a river, then they make this huge journey to the ocean's massive all-you-can-eat buffet to get big and strong before, you guessed it, making that epic trip all the way back to where they started. And it all begins with just staggering numbers. A single large female Atlantic salmon can lay up to 15,000 eggs. She carefully buries them in a gravel nest, which is called a redd, just to give that next generation the best possible shot at survival. But here's the thing. The odds are absolutely stacked against them from day one. In some river systems, the survival rate for these young salmon is less than 1%. It's a really brutal reality that makes every single fish that survives that much more extraordinary. So for those lucky few that beat the odds, their first 1 to 3 years are spent right there in the river where they were born. This is their nursery, It's where they transform from this tiny little egg into a small but very capable explorer. And they do it through a series of really distinct stages. Okay, so let's break down these freshwater stages. First, you have the ova, which are the eggs, buried safely in the gravel. After they hatch, they become what's called an alloven, and they're still feeding from a yolk sac that's attached to them. Once they start swimming freely, they're known as fry. And finally, they develop into parr. And at this stage, they get these cool vertical stripes for camouflage. And they get pretty territorial, defending their little spot in the stream. Each step is absolutely critical for what comes next. After spending a few years as a parr, something incredible is triggered. It is time to leave the familiar river behind and head for the huge, dangerous, and opportunity-filled Atlantic Ocean. But to pull that off, the salmon has to literally re-engineer its own body. This whole process is called smolting, and it is a complete biological overhaul. The territorial parr with its camo stripes literally transforms into something called a smolt. Its body turns silvery to blend in with the open ocean. Instead of fighting the current, it starts swimming with it. And most importantly, its internal chemistry completely flips, from a body designed to get rid of excess water in the river to one that has to constantly get rid of excess salt in the ocean. And this is where it gets really wild. The smolt develops what you can only describe as superpowers for its ocean journey. It grows specialized cells with magnetic particles that let it sense the Earth's magnetic field, like a built-in compass. Its sense of smell becomes unbelievably powerful. Its vision adapts, letting it see in both color and infrared, which is perfect for moving between shallow rivers and the deep ocean. And it masters this incredible balancing act called osmoregulation, perfectly managing the salt and water in its body. So, armed with all these new abilities, the smolts ride the ocean currents, basically hitching a ride on the North Atlantic Current, all the way to the rich feeding grounds in the Norwegian Sea. Out there, they just feast on shrimp, krill, and small fish, and they grow at an incredible rate. Speed is everything here. The faster they grow, the fewer predators are big enough to eat them. Okay, so after a year or more at sea, growing from that little smolt into a powerful adult salmon, an ancient instinct just clicks on. It's time to go home. And this is the final, and by far the most demanding, act of their entire lives, the journey back. And the scale of this journey is just mind-boggling. Using that built-in magnetic compass and that impossibly precise sense of smell to pick up the unique chemical signature of their home river, they can navigate over 3,000 kilometers of open ocean. But just surviving the ocean and finding the right coastline isn't the end of it. As they get closer and enter the rivers, they face this gauntlet of man-made threats. They have to dodge fishers, both legal and illegal, and navigate through waters that might be affected by pollution. And once they're finally in the river, the purely physical challenge begins. The salmon has stopped eating at this point. It's running only on its energy reserves. It has to fight against the current, literally leap up waterfalls, and figure out how to get around massive dams.
all in this relentless push to get upstream.
Every single ounce of that energy, every obstacle they overcome, it's all for one single purpose: to get back to the exact same gravel beds where their lives began and to create a legacy for the future.
The survivors that make it all the way back, they complete the cycle. Now they're weakened, and they're called kelts. But here's an incredible little fact. While Pacific salmon always die after spawning, some unbelievably resilient Atlantic salmon can actually survive, return to the ocean, and make this entire epic journey all over again. I mean, it's no wonder that a creature like this holds such a powerful place in human culture. In Irish mythology, it's known as the salmon of knowledge. The legend says that by eating its flesh, you could gain all the wisdom in the world, which is a pretty fitting story for a fish that navigates the globe and holds the secrets of two different worlds inside its body. The salmon has always been a symbol of pure resilience. But today, this king of fish, as it's often called, is facing new and growing threats from habitat loss and a changing climate. And that leaves all of us with a really important question. As we come to understand this incredible journey, what are we going to do to protect its ancient kingdom and make sure its epic story can endure?